He walked into the room like he was invisible. The meeting had already started, and every eye was on someone else, someone louder, sharper, more certain. He sat near the corner, clutching a pen like it was a shield. He had something to say, something that could shift the entire discussion. But his chest tightened, mouth dry, and the moment slipped away. No one noticed. A year later, he walked into the same room, same chairs, same people. But this time, the air changed. People looked up. He didn't say anything at first, just placed his notes down, calmly, like a man planting a flag. Then he spoke, no tremble, no doubt. Silence followed his words. Didn't need volume. His presence was loud enough. You ever feel that freeze before you speak? That crackle of fear behind your teeth? If you're facing that now, here's your move. Stop chasing the perfect moment. Speak into the tension. You won't break. You'll expand. You train courage in real time, not in books, not in thoughts, but in that moment when your body says no and your voice still rises. You think the reason you shrink is weakness, but that's not the truth. It's training, old, invisible training you didn't choose. Since you were small, you were programmed. Wait your turn. Raise your hand. Don't speak unless invited. That wasn't discipline. It was a script obedience embedded deep into your nervous system. And now every bold impulse you feel gets strangled before it reaches your mouth. That's not hesitation. That's installation. They installed fear of disruption. It made you believe expression was rebellion. And you've obeyed so long you think silence is safety. But it's not. Silence is suffocation. You've got to start rewiring that script. When you feel that old choke in your chest, remember it's not real. It's a ghost. Do the opposite. Speak when you're not invited. Step when you don't feel ready. Because confidence doesn't come after courage, it comes because of it. If you're facing those buried rules, start breaking them slowly. One rebellion a day. Say what you believe without checking faces. That's how you start to erase the old code and install something dangerous. Truth. Let me take you to a moment you'll recognize. You're sitting in a circle meeting, family dinner, maybe a date. Someone says something dumb, maybe even wrong, and your instincts fire. You know exactly what to say, but then you pause. You scan. Will they think I'm arrogant? Am I overstepping? And in that instant, the chance dies. Your mind goes silent. Later you replay, your jaw clenched, angry not at them, but at yourself. That pause cost you. We call it hesitation, but it's actually submission. It's the body waiting for permission, trained by years of don't speak unless spoken to. That moment, right? There's the moment confidence dies. So what do you do next time it comes? You lean into it, not with aggression, but with presence. Say it, even if your voice shakes. It's how you steal the moment back. You don't overcome fear by waiting. You overcome it by moving with it. Next time you feel that inner freeze, let it be a cue not to stop, but to step forward. That's how power is reclaimed, one stolen moment at a time. Forget everything you've been told about confidence. It's not a mood. It's not pep talks or mantras. It's a switch buried deep in the back of your mind. I call it command mode. It's that state where you stop asking for approval, stop rehearsing every move, and just act. It's not because you're certain, but because you're done waiting. I watched a man activate it once. Quiet guy, always in the background. One day, he walked into a client pitch and spoke like he owned the building, not cocky composed, not loud laser, focused. And when I asked him what changed, he said, I stopped trying to be liked. That's it. That's the shift. Command mode isn't about dominance. It's about self-trust so deep you don't flinch. If you're tired of hesitating, try this. Pick one daily decision you usually second-guess and execute it instantly. Don't overthink, just act. That's how you flip the switch. Confidence doesn't come when you feel ready. It comes when you stop needing to feel ready. That's the fire you want to light. You've seen it, the loud ones, the chest beaters, the people who rehearse charisma like it's a costume. They walk in loud, bold, almost impressive until something goes wrong. Then they fold. You ask them a hard question and they stammer. You give them silence and they wither. That's not confidence. It's costume work. They call it the faker's trap. I watched a guy once, polished, sharp, confident on stage. Then someone challenged him. His smile cracked. His energy collapsed. Because it was all a performance. Here's the truth. Fake confidence breaks under pressure, but real confidence gets tighter. Why? Because it's not built on audience. It's built on identity. If you're stuck in the faker's trap, here's your exit. Start showing up honestly. Admit when you don't know. Stand firm when you do. Don't try to impress. Try to express. That shift will save you from the mask. When the real heat comes, you'll still be standing. Not because you faked power, but because you forged it. Let me take you inside your own head, deep in the wiring. You ever notice how your energy spikes when someone praises you? Or how your stomach flips when someone criticizes you? That's because your brain is wired for feedback, feeds on it. But that's dangerous, because as long as your confidence is tied to reaction, you're not free. You're a puppet. But there's a way out. When you act boldly without feedback, when you speak before applause, or move without permission, your brain rewards you chemically. Dopamine hits, testosterone rises, serotonin calms, and oxytocin, the bond chemical, starts bonding you to yourself. It's not theory, that's power. That's your nervous system saying, I got me. So if you want real confidence, you've got to train your biology. Start small. Post something bold online, and don't check likes. Speak up in a room and walk away. That act done repeatedly builds a self-trust loop so strong, no feedback can break it. That's not ego, that's neurochemical sovereignty. And it's yours if you train it. Here's the part no one prepares you for. Real confidence comes with a cost. I watched a woman rise fast in her industry. Not because she was loud, but because she was clear. She stopped apologizing. She made sharp decisions. The people around her, some admired her. Most didn't. They said she was too much. Cold. Changed. But here's the twist. Years later, those same critics came to her for advice. Because she'd built something they couldn't ignore. That's the tax of confidence. You lose the crowd before you gain the crown. If you're facing that now, feeling isolated because you're leveling up, know this. It's not rejection. It's refinement. The higher you climb, the thinner the air, the stronger the lungs required. So don't shrink to stay liked. Expand to stay aligned. And remember, if your growth offends someone, they were never rooting for you in the first place. You weren't born to be digestible. You were born to be undeniable. Now comes the danger zone. You build confidence. You become untouchable. And then it whispers that voice. You're always right. They don't get it. You don't need help anymore. So that's not evolution. That's infection. I've seen it take down geniuses. One man I knew, brilliant, respected, started ignoring feedback, stopped listening, thought he was beyond critique. Slowly, his team withdrew. His clients vanished. And one day, he stood in the middle of his success, completely alone. That's the final trap. Arrogance dressed as confidence. If you feel it creeping in, here's your antidote: humility rituals. Once a week, ask someone to challenge your thinking. Read about someone great who fell. Keep a failure journal, not to shame yourself, but to stay sharp. Because confidence without correction is delusion. And no matter how high you rise, you're never above feedback. The moment you believe you are, you've already started to fall. Confidence isn't a vibe. It's a discipline. Rituals are your anchor when storms come. I know a guy who wakes up, stares into his own eyes in the mirror and says, I don't beg, I decide. Not for motivation, for reprogramming. Then at night, he writes what tried to break his confidence that day on, how he responded. That's how he sharpens. Once a week, he does something that humbles him, asks for critique, admits a mistake in front of others. That's how he keeps his edge. And every Friday, he does one bold act no one sees. Why? Because if your courage only comes when you're watched, it's not courage, it's theater. These rituals aren't cute, they're armor. They build a confidence that doesn't wobble when the lights go out. If you're building your own, steal his blueprint. Mirror, reflection, humbling act, private courage. That is how you build an inner world that dose and tea break when the outer one does. Let's land this. Most people tie their confidence to outcome. If they win, they feel good. They lose, they collapse. But here's the trap. Life doesn't always reward you immediately. Sometimes you'll do the right thing and get punished. Sometimes liars win. So if your confidence is tied to results, you'll always be on shaky ground. Real confidence says this: whether I win or lose, I show up like I belong. Whether they clap or criticize, I move like I'm called. That's mental sovereignty. I knew a man who kept doing the right thing while others cut corners. They laughed, stayed the course, and when the dust settled, he was the last one standing. It's not because he got lucky, but because he never sold his compass. If you're facing failure right now, don't retreat. Don't whine. Don't blame. Ask, am I still aligned? If yes, then walk on. Legacy isn't built from applause. It's built from consistency, clarity, and control, especially when it's hardest. It's not just confidence, that's command. And it's yours if you claim it.